If your budget is looking like a game of Sudoku, then you've come to the right place. Today we're comparing the best budgeting apps in Australia, including Billroo, which is my budgeting app, which is actually just launched on iOS and Android, after it became our most requested feature. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Queenie and I'm a licensed personal finance creator, and I'm here to help you make your money go further. In our last budgeting app video, I didn't review PocketSmith, but this time we'll be reviewing it. So let's dive in. So here are the things that we'll cover: bank connections and security, categories and customization, budget creation and payday cycles, the desktop and mobile experience, and extras like forecasting, credit score, and AI insights. We'll also be reviewing the prices and any free trials. So the first budgeting app is Billroo, which is the app that I've created with my team. Pablo and I have actually completely bootstrapped this business out of our own savings. Building a really amazing budgeting app is something that was really important to us, and so was keeping our team fully based in Australia. We've been live for a year on desktop and mobile, but now we have a brand new iOS and Android app to show you. And we still have the web app version, which is perfect if you want to upload any CSVs and do things like that. So this is what the app looks like. You have a few different options to import transactions. So you have an option to use a bank connection. And by the way that we connect to your bank account is through open banking. Open banking is a government-backed initiative with really strict testing. Basically, only a few providers actually allow you to connect to your bank account and allow you to see the transactions there. And the great thing about open banking is there's no need to share your bank ID or your password. It's done through an API connection, so you basically need to go into your banking app and then give permission for Billroo to be able to see your transactions. We use our accredited third-party provider Fiscal in order to make that open banking connection. But the good thing is, since you aren't sharing your bank ID or your password, it is a lot more secure than some of the other budgeting apps where you do need to put in your bank ID and your password in order to get the information. And that's the reason why we went down the open banking route. But if you don't want to use open banking, you can import a CSV of your transactions on the web app, and on the mobile app, you have the option to add a transaction manually. And I'll show you exactly how it works. So I simply click on here, add manually. And let's say, for example, I sold something on Facebook Marketplace for $50. I can select a category, for example, Facebook Marketplace, and the description. So maybe I sold a chair, for example. And that's how it works. I can also really easily delete transactions, for example, delete selected. And there you go. You can also create your own custom categories. So you simply go into the budget tab, and here you're able to put in your different income, expenses, savings, investments, or debt. You can easily edit the amount for any of these budget categories, and you can simply delete some if they're not relevant to you. Once you've imported your transactions or connected your bank account, they'll show up here on the transactions page, and they'll be automatically categorized. But if you still want to change the category, you can change it here, for example. Let's say this Amazon purchase was something else, for example, MISC. I can just change that here. And the good news is, once you've recategorized something, the AI will actually remember this, and for future transactions that have the same name, it will use the same budget category. You're also able to budget your own way and put in these amounts depending on when you get paid or when your expenses come up. So you can change it between weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. So if you prefer creating your budget, say weekly or fortnightly instead of monthly, you can do it. On the overview page, once you've put in your budget, you can see how you're actually going with your finances compared to what you've budgeted for. So for example, for last month, I can see that I've made an extra $7 in cash back compared to what I budgeted for, but I've spent a lot more money on travel than what I had budgeted for because I did a big trip last month. Eating out was also quite high because I did a 4-week trip, and so was insurance and transport. I can also really easily change the date picker to any point in time, and I really like doing this to see basically my year in review and how I've spent my money. And I can really easily see how much money I've made versus how much money I've spent, and kind of where all of my money went. And if I want to drill deeper into different transactions, I can simply click here, for example, and here I can see all of my transactions and see how they add up to basically what I saw in the overview page. There's also an AI assistant, and I can simply click on here and I can ask it questions relating to my budget and how I spent my money. For example, I can ask it things like, what are my biggest expenses? On the web app, there are extra features like I can compare different months. So for example, comparing July with August, I can see in August I spent a lot more money on travel, but I also spent less money on my mortgage because I got a rate reduction, and it's really interesting to drill into these different categories. On the web app, I can also export transactions to a CSV, and I can also upload transactions from a CSV. There's also a really cool tax report that you can generate, and it basically uses AI to find potentially tax-deductible expenses. So I simply need to put in the financial year, I pick my occupation because the AI results will be tailored towards your occupation, and I can put in whether I have an investment property or not. And here are all the potentially tax-deductible expenses for the last financial year. And transport, potentially Sydney Water if it is an investment property, landlord insurance, potentially utility bills if I am working from home, etc, etc. And I can simply export these transactions to a CSV and then send them off to my accountant. So the pricing for Billroo is $7.99 per month or $74.99 for a year. So you'll save about 22% by doing a yearly subscription. But we also have a 14-day free trial, so you can try us completely for free. We release new features every couple of weeks, and there's actually a public roadmap of all of the new features that we're looking to build, and you can actually vote on the features that you would like to see next. The reason that we even have a mobile app at all is because so many people voted for it in the roadmap. So we would really appreciate your feedback. At the moment, we're building a network tracker and also a partner sharing feature so that couples can actually share their budgets with each other. So you can find us at billroo.com and the App Store and the Google Play Store. So the next app is PocketSmith. PocketSmith has a really amazing and very clean, user-friendly looking app. Something that I really love about PocketSmith is it actually shows you a forecast of your net worth, although mine isn't very accurate because I haven't connected all of my accounts. So you can also edit the overview page and add or delete any of these widgets. And it also has a really nice calendar view as well. The one downside that I have noticed is it doesn't automatically categorize all of your transactions, so you will need to go and manually update all of the categories for some that haven't been automatically detected. And while the mobile app looks really nice, it is a little bit more limited compared to the desktop version because you can't edit your budget in the mobile app. But I do really love how it does get very granular with your transactions, and you do have to approve all of your transactions and make sure that they're in the right category. So I can simply mark these as good, or for example, if I want to change this one to travel, I can create a category for travel and save. So I do feel like once I go in and I do make sure that all of my transactions are categorized correctly, then it will give me really cool information about where my money is going. You can also create rules. For example, if the transaction looks like this, then mark it as this, which is a really cool feature. The pricing for PocketSmith is $9.99 for the foundation plan, $16.66 for the flourish plan, and $26.66 for the fortune plan. They don't have a free trial, but they do have a 14-day money-back guarantee. So in my opinion, PocketSmith is really amazing for people who love forecasting and really tinkering with their finances and don't mind a bit more of an involved budgeting setup. So the next budgeting app is YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget. Their philosophy is to give every single dollar a job. YNAB is really amazing if you are based in the US. Unfortunately, YNAB doesn't currently have open banking in Australia, so it can't automatically connect to your bank accounts, but you can import CSVs into YNAB or add transactions manually. You can create your budget really easily here and update any of these categories, and you can also add manual transactions really easily like this. Transaction, for example, let's say I spent $5 on coffee. I also really like on the plan page, it actually breaks up your different expenses into bills, needs, and wants. So you can easily see which categories are your discretionary expenses and which ones aren't. The only thing that I've noticed is it doesn't really have a centralized transactions feed. You can have a look at your transactions in each account and you can add different accounts and then you can see the transactions there, but you don't really have a transaction feed with all of your transactions. I also really love how you can simply click up here and you can select different months, for example, August or July, which is a really cool feature. And the pricing for YNAB is $14.99 US or $20.91 Australian. That's if you sign up for the monthly plan, and the annual plan is $109 US or 166 Australian dollars. This app is really great for people who want to give every single dollar a job and don't mind the manual imports or the workarounds for Australia. So the next budgeting app is Frollo, and honestly, this is probably one of my favorite budgeting apps. It's very simple and seamless to connect to your bank account. They also also use open banking, so you don't need to share any of your bank ID or passwords. And you can also create manual transactions very easily. For example, if I want to add a manual transaction, I can simply click here, coffee, and there you have it. I've just created a manual transaction. Something that I really like about Frollo is you can really easily recategorize a transaction if it's wrong. Let's say, for example, this one I want to change to gifts, and then I simply click here, and here I can choose to only change this transaction or all current and future similar transactions. So I'm just going to click that. And there you have it. I've just automatically recategorized that transaction for the past and also the future. The dashboard is also really nice. I can easily see money in and money out, but it's a little bit difficult to see actually where my money went or which categories they went to. I can see how much money came in and how much money came out, but yeah, I think I would like a bit more of a breakdown of exactly where it went. Frollo is currently only available as an app. It doesn't have a desktop version, but the good news is it's completely free to use. So I'd say that Frollo is really amazing for people who want to see how much money came in and how much money came out. Also a bit of information about different expense categories, but don't necessarily need deep customization. And for people who want a free and easy to set up tool. So the next budgeting app is WeMoney. The goal of WeMoney is to give you an all-in-one view of your accounts, loans and credit cards, and even credit score tracking in the one place. The amazing thing is that you can connect a lot of accounts with WeMoney. As you can see, you can go through this list and there are so many different accounts that you can connect with WeMoney. But the one thing to be mindful of is not all of them are available with open banking. So with some of them, you may need to share your ID and your password, which can be a bit risky, especially if you're doing something online, especially given all the hacking that's going around these days. So I would suggest if you are looking at using WeMoney to only connect your bank accounts are the things that are compliant with open banking, and to never share your username and password for any internet account because it can get a bit risky. Another thing to note is when you are signing up for an account, they are quite rigorous and they do ask you for things like your phone number and your personal ID, but this is mainly so that you can use their credit score tracking feature. So it's up to you if you're comfortable with it or not. One of the main features is to help you refinance and look for better rates. So by putting in your details, they may be suggesting you different credit card options or different home loan options that may suit your needs. So there is a bit more of a push to try to move you into different loan options in order to monetize. So once you've connected your bank, you can easily see how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. And you also get a bit more of a breakdown of each of your categories, and you can recategorize anything if it's incorrect. And if I want to change a category for a transaction, for example, changing this one from general to say coffee, or say eating out, say food and drink, then I can also do that as well. One thing to also note, it's a bit more tricky to actually set up a budget for different categories. There is no budget page. It's mainly just showing you how you've spent your money over the past few months. So it's a bit difficult to see if you're on track or not. But one thing that I really love about the WeMoney app is they do have this really amazing credit score feature. So it can show you what your credit score currently is, and it can even give you suggestions on how you can improve your credit score. It even shows you how your credit score compares with other WeMoney members. And it also shows you the factors influencing your credit score. WeMoney has a free version, but if you do want to upgrade and get access to custom categories and also experience their desktop version, then it is $9.90 per month or $98.99 for a year. There's also a 7-day free trial of WeMoney Pro. So WeMoney is really amazing for people that want to see credit tracking and mainly want to see how they spent their money over the past couple of months. And don't mind the data sharing and the business model with commissions to loans. So if you would like to try any of these budgeting tools, I have put some links in the description below, including a link to Billroo that you can now download on your phone and even use as a desktop version. So now that we've had a look at each of these budgeting apps in detail, let's do a quick comparison in a table. So the first option is whether they have a free trial. With Billroo, we have a 14-day free trial, which gives you full access to all of the features. We also have a free version of Billroo with no bank feeds available. For PocketSmith, they don't currently have a free trial, but they do have a 14-day money-back guarantee, and they also have a free plan with no bank feeds. With YNAB, they have a 34-day free trial. Frollo is completely free, and WeMoney has a free tier and a pro tier. For the bank syncing, Billroo uses open banking, and this is available on the web and also the mobile app. With PocketSmith, bank syncing is only available on the web app. With YNAB, they currently currently don't have any bank syncing in Australia. Frollo also has open banking bank syncing, and WeMoney does as well. With all of these budgeting tools, you can add manual transactions, except for WeMoney, which is a bit more limited. You can create your own custom categories in all of these apps except for Frollo, and with WeMoney, you can only do it on the Pro version. Billroo, PocketSmith, and YNAB have a desktop version. Frollo currently doesn't, and WeMoney does, but it is limited. For the sign-up requirements, most of these apps you just need your email address, but with WeMoney you do need to give a bit more data, like your phone number and ID. The subscription model for Billroo, PocketSmith, and YNAB is a subscription-based model. For Frollo, it's completely free, and for WeMoney, it is a free app with a Pro version, but they also do earn commissions via refinancing you into different loans and credit cards. So sometimes there is a bit of advertising on the app. So those are my thoughts on each of these different budgeting apps, but at the end of the day, the best budgeting app is the one that you'll actually use. So whichever one you prefer, whether it's Billroo, PocketSmith, YNAB, Frollo, or WeMoney, just make sure you try it and actually stick to it, because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. And today's secret word is track, so write track in the comments if you made it to the end. Bye!